Infernal Affairs. I love this movie. I love it so much it made me start a YouTube channel explaining why this is better than its Hollywood remake, The Departed. Infernal Affairs is a 2002 Hong Kong thriller directed by Andrew Lau and Alan Mak on a budget of $6.4 million, winning multiple awards around Asia and spawning 2 sequels in 2003, a Korean remake in 2009, and a TV series in 2018 spanning 3 seasons with 12 episodes each. But we're not here to talk about those. We're here to talk about 2006's The Departed, Best Picture winner and Martin Scorsese's only Best Director win. Now, let's see why Hong Kong just did it better. Both are brilliant films. The heart of both movies is about identity and the effects of deception. Both films tells the story of 2 men living double lives. One, an undercover cop infiltrating a criminal organization, and the other, a criminal working as a mole in the police force. The tension builds as both men try to expose each other, leading to a thrilling game of cat and mouse. The film explores the psychological and moral tolls of their roles as moles in their respective organizations. The opening sequence in Infernal Affairs feels like a compressed version of everything the film stands for. Brief shots, subtle character building, and a focus on atmosphere. We see the lives of our 2 protagonists unfold with such precision. There's no excessive exposition or filler, just 100% pure effective storytelling. Now, in The Departed, Scorsese also starts with an explosive opening, introducing the crime boss Frank Costello, played by Jack Nicholson, in arguably one of his best roles. But while The Departed throws a lot at you right away, setting the stage with lots of dialogue and quick cuts, it lacks the same controlled, slow burn that Infernal Affairs executes so brilliantly. Infernal Affairs doesn't need to be flashy to grab your attention. It trusts the audience to pick up on the small details, and that makes the story feel more engaging and intimate. One of the things Infernal Affairs excels at is its character development. The 2 main characters, Chan, played by Tony Leung, the undercover cop, and Lau, played by Andy Lau, the mole in the police force, are introduced with depth and subtlety. We see their internal struggles through small actions and expressions, not only through lengthy monologues or expositional dialogue, like in The Departed, where Scorsese goes for a more in-your-face approach, with characters like Billy Costigan, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, and Colin Sullivan, played by Mark Damon, are introduced with a more direct storytelling, emphasizing the tough guy persona. While The Departed does a good job with their performances, it's often more about showing them in action rather than showing us who they really are underneath. In contrast, Infernal Affairs allows its characters to breathe. It focuses on their internal conflict, which makes their eventual fates feel more tragic and earned. Now, let's talk about the tension between the 2 leads. In Infernal Affairs, the cat and mouse game is intense, but it's so subtle. Chan is always 2 steps behind Lau, but both men are in similar positions, trapped by their own choices, and both trying to escape, but only sinking deeper. Their quiet interactions, the way they observe each other, are full of unease, without ever needing to shout about it. In The Departed, the tension is ramped up to a higher volume. Scorsese amps it up with more dramatic confrontations, like in the scene with the elevator, or the final moments between Costigan and Sullivan. While these scenes are powerful, they often feel like they're trying to force the drama rather than letting it simmer. One of the key reasons Infernal Affairs is better in this regard is that, again, it trusts the audience. The tension between Chan and Lau are developed over time, through small moments. You feel their weight, and when it finally breaks, it hits harder. In The Departed, the tension is more immediate. It doesn't allow the characters to simmer in the same way. In both films, the big moment is when the mole inside the police force is finally revealed. In Infernal Affairs, this comes after a tense meeting between Chan and Lau. It's a quiet, subtle moment of realization. Chan doesn't have all the answers, but the revelation that Lau is the mole stuns him, leaving him caught in a moral and emotional conflict. In The Departed, this moment also comes with a bang. It's more of a plot twist than an emotional gut punch. The film ramps up the action, and while the mole's identity is important, it doesn't carry the same weight of personal loss that we feel in Infernal Affairs. The reason Infernal Affairs is better here is that it focuses on the emotional core of the reveal. The pain isn't just in action, it's in the character's sense of identity and what they've sacrificed. The Departed doesn't have the same internal conflict. Everything is just louder, faster, and more of a spectacle. The final showdown in Infernal Affairs is subtle and yet devastating. When Chan confronts Lao, it's not about good versus evil. It's about two men, both morally compromised, trying to navigate a broken system. The emotional weight of the ending is quiet. There's no big shootout, no explosive resolution. Instead, it ends on a note of resignation and tragedy. In The Departed, the final moments is a bloodbath, with multiple characters meeting their end in a dramatic fashion. It's shocking and cathartic, but it lacks the quiet, introspective melancholy of Infernal Affairs. The ending of Infernal Affairs doesn't give you closure. It leaves you with a sense of emptiness, forcing you to sit with the consequences of the characters' actions. The Departed, while thrilling, it offers more of a traditional Hollywood action-packed conclusion. Both films explore themes of duality, loyalty, and identity, but the way these themes are developed differs. In Infernal Affairs, much of the emotional weight comes from Chan's internal struggles, as he lives a double life, caught between his duty as a cop and his survival as an undercover agent. Meanwhile, The Departed explores these themes through a more action-driven lens. Costigan and Sullivan both deal with the psychological toll through dramatic moments, like the intense therapy sessions and confrontations with authority figures. Scorsese's film has more of a focus on the consequences of betrayal in a world where everyone is compromised, while Infernal Affairs spends more time exploring subtlety and character-driven moments. The Departed leans into a more bombastic storytelling, reflecting Scorsese's signature style. Another key difference is in the music. Infernal Affairs features a hauntingly atmospheric score by Chan Kwong-wing, using subtle orchestration and minimalistic tones to amplify the tension. It creates a sense of dread without being too overbearing. The Departed has a more energetic and often in-your-face soundtrack, featuring classic rock hits like Gimme Shelter by the Rolling Stones. Both soundtracks are fantastic in their own right, but they reflect the difference in the film's approach to tension and drama. One is quiet and creeping, the other is loud and unapologetic. So why is Infernal Affairs ultimately the better film? It's all about the emotional depth. Infernal Affairs takes its time to develop its characters. The tension builds slowly, the stakes are personal, and the choices the characters make feel weighty and real. The film's subtlety allows us to connect with the internal struggles of the characters, and the ending lingers long after the credits roll. The Departed is undeniably a great film, and it has its own strengths, like a bigger budget and more explosive moments, but it sacrifices the emotional core for spectacle. Scorsese's version is flashier, but Infernal Affairs is more resonant because it focuses on the complexity of the human experience. So there you have it, why Infernal Affairs is the superior of the two films. It's a more intimate, emotionally charged experience that leaves a lasting impact. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend checking it out, and let me know in the comments if you agree with the points that I have made, and that Infernal Affairs is just the better film. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Thank you for listening. Peace out.